You ever scroll through your feed and just get this weird feeling, a kind of nagging doubt about what's real and what's not? It feels so uniquely modern, this constant flood of misinformation. But what if I told you it's not new at all? What if the key to understanding our future is actually buried deep in our past? Fake news. Yeah, that's the name we've slapped on this feeling, right? This modern anxiety of being totally lost in a sea of information.
But here's the twist. This is an ancient problem. Seriously, humanity has been dealing with misinformation since we were telling stories around campfires.
And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. What if digging into this long, messy history of lies is actually the secret to fighting them now? Maybe by looking back, we can arm ourselves for whatever's coming next. So let's start at the very beginning, because pretty much as soon as information became powerful, twisting that information became a weapon. Right from the jump, you see these two main flavors of falsehood. On the one hand, you've got strategic deception. 2,500 years ago, Sun Tzu was writing that all warfare is based on it. And on the other hand, political scapegoating. When a huge fire tore through Rome, Emperor Nero needed a fall guy, so he just invented one, blaming the early Christians to protect his own skin. These aren't new tricks, they're as old as power itself. Okay, so you have these strategic lies, but what happens when you mix them with widespread public fear? Well, the results can be absolutely catastrophic. Think about medieval Europe. Society was gripped by fear of the plague, of famine, of anything they couldn't explain. And when people are scared and can't figure out why they're suffering, they start looking for someone to blame. All it took was a simple rumor, a whisper that so-and-so was a witch, and that whisper could explode into a firestorm of hysteria, turning neighbors into monsters overnight. And the human cost was just staggering. This wasn't just some harmless superstition. We're talking about an estimated 40,000 to 60,000 people, mostly women, who were executed because of these fear-driven lies. That's the real-world power of disinformation when it sinks its teeth into our deepest anxieties. Now, for centuries, a lie could only travel as fast as a human voice. But then, technology came along and completely changed the game, creating a machine that could mass-produce lies on an industrial scale. You can just see how things accelerated. Around 1450, the printing press was a miracle for knowledge, but it also became the first engine for mass propaganda. Fast forward to the 1890s, and newspapers were perfecting manipulation through screaming headlines. Then, in the 1930s, radio came along, literally whispering propaganda directly into our living rooms. And by the 60s, TV was using the raw power of moving pictures to bypass our logical brains entirely. Each new invention was a massive amplifier for both the truth and the lies. And that newspaper boom gave us a term you've probably heard: yellow journalism. Sound a little familiar? It should. It was basically the 19th century version of clickbait. The competition for readers got so fierce that the actual facts became way less important than a shocking headline that could get you to part with a nickel. And if you want to understand the sheer power these media moguls had, just listen to this quote. It's attributed to William Randolph Hearst. He basically told his illustrator covering a conflict in Cuba, "Look, you just get me the sensational pictures and I'll create the story that gets America into this war." It's just a bone-chilling glimpse into how media can literally manufacture reality. So here's a fantastic bit of historical irony for you. Joseph Pulitzer? He was Hearst's biggest competitor in the yellow journalism game. His papers were just as wild and sensational. So how on earth did his name get attached to the Pulitzer Prize, the literal gold standard for journalistic integrity? And here it is. Turns out, later in his life, Pulitzer used his massive fortune to establish the prize specifically to encourage the kind of excellent, fact-based reporting his own papers had often thrown out the window. It's an incredible reminder that this fight for the truth is always evolving, and sometimes even the players can change teams. Of course, as technology marched on, so did the weapons. Radio's immediacy made us vulnerable in new ways. Orson Welles' War of the Worlds broadcast felt so real that it actually caused a nationwide panic. And then TV. Well, TV gave dictators a direct pipeline to people's emotions, using powerful images of cheering crowds and military parades to build this untouchable image of power. Which brings us to today. And the big shift, the thing that makes our era fundamentally different, isn't just about speed or scale anymore. It's about personalization. The lie is no longer a blanket statement for the masses. Now, it's tailor-made, just for you. The first piece of this modern puzzle is the filter bubble. The easiest way to think about it is that the algorithms are watching. They see what you like, what you click, what you believe. And then they build this invisible, cozy little information universe just for you, where they only show you more of what you already like and quietly hide anything that might challenge you.
And here's the second piece. This one isn't about tech. It's about us. It's our own psychology. It's called confirmation bias. Our brains are just hardwired to love, and I mean love, getting information that proves what we already think is true. It just feels good to be right.
Now, this is where it gets really dangerous, because these two things create this incredibly powerful feedback loop. The algorithm in your filter bubble learns your biases and just keeps feeding them back to you. At the same time, your brain, thanks to confirmation bias, just eats it all up because it feels so right. And the result? Our views get more and more extreme, and we become more vulnerable than ever to lies that are perfectly designed to fit our personal view of the world.
Okay, wow. So we've gone all the way from ancient Rome to the modern algorithm. So what's the big takeaway? It's that the tools are always changing, but the core human vulnerabilities, they seem to stay exactly the same.
I mean, just look at it laid out like this. The pattern is crystal clear. It doesn't matter if it's a lie told around a campfire, a rumor that sparks a witch hunt, or a personalized lie from an algorithm. The social impact is almost identical. It creates division, it finds scapegoats, it concentrates power. The technology evolves, but the outcome is just a historical echo. So history shows us that we've been here before. We're not the first generation to feel completely overwhelmed by a new wave of disinformation. The tools are going to keep changing, but the playbook, the one that exploits our fears and our biases, that stays the same. And recognizing that pattern, that's our best defense. So the real question isn't if the next lie is coming, because it is. The real question is, will we be ready for it when it arrives?